Alright, so, Sonic the Hedgehog and Pokemon. Let's talk about those, shall we? In a recent video of mine, I discussed games that are coming out in the year 2022 that I was interested in at least trying out. Two of those said games were Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is coming out in November, and Sonic Frontiers, which all we have is Holiday 2022. Only about 2 days after I made that video, Sega and Nintendo both updated, showing a new trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and two separate gameplay videos for Sonic Frontiers, one with exploring the overworld and one with showing off the combat. Looking at the general reactions of people who looked at Scarlet and Violet are pretty excited, and people who were hoping that Sonic Frontiers would be good are currently very disappointed. Let's start with the one that I have a lot less to say about, that being Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, Pokemon has been actually doing quite well. We've had Pokemon Sword and Shield, which, while not many people like, it was the first mainline home console Pokemon title. We have Pokemon Legends Arceus, which everyone loves. Pokemon Gen 1 got two new remakes in Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. And recently, we also had the Gen 4 remakes, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, which I unpopularly really like. It's probably my favorite Pokemon game, only beaten out likely by Pokemon Black. And by the end of this year, we'll have Gen 9, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. This was shown off a few months ago in a Pokemon Direct, which really surprised me. I wasn't expecting Gen 9 to come so quickly. But it's coming. Personally, again, I don't care too much about Pokemon, but this does look pretty good. The trailer was more or less what I expected, but it still did its job. It showed off the starters, some new Pokemon that were going to be seen in the game, the professors. Yeah, that was a surprise. Professors, usually it's just one professor, but each version gets its own professor. I already forgot their names, but they look nice. And of course, ending off the trailer, showing off the legendaries, which I don't know how I feel about these designs. Legendaries aren't always the perfect design, but I always like the designs. Except this one. These legendaries just look kind of derpy to me, if that's the word I'm looking for. I don't know, I don't like how they look. However, the trailer wasn't all bad. They did show off some new Pokemon, of course. I forgot the seed one, but I think it had something to do with olives. And they showed off a pig who the internet is still in hysterics about because they named it Lechonk. I can't make this up. Of course, the gameplay is your standard turn-based Pokemon fare. 4 moves, you have TMs and HMs and all that stuff. You can run if you want. You know, you've played Pokemon, you know how this works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And of course, as standard for Pokemon, the music in the trailer was pretty great. I'm definitely going to give the game's soundtrack a listen when it comes out. I really did enjoy the music. However, despite these positives, I am still wary with this game on a personal level. I don't think it's going to be a bad game at all, but I'm not fully interested in it like I was with Sword or Shield, or Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Those two games I felt like I kind of needed in my collection, be it because of some weird obligation or childhood spite. But Scarlet and Violet, unless they show off something more or reviews come in great even by people who don't usually like Pokemon, I don't really think I'm going to get it anymore. I was already kind of on the fence about it before, but now I just don't think I'm going to get it. But to people who do get it, I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's a good game. Now, what about that hedgehog? I mentioned before that I think Sonic's in the past 5 years has been doing pretty well. Sure, he's had some stumbles with games like Forces and the remake of Colors, but overall he's been doing pretty good. Mania was a great game, his 2 movies were great, Team Sonic Racing I've heard was pretty good. So I've been optimistic for the upcoming Sonic Frontiers. I was actually pretty excited when they were showing off the gameplay. It looks good, for the most parts. I have things I really like about it, and it's a lot of optimism. But there's a lot that I'm just seeing from the few minutes of footage that's just not doing it for me at all. Over the years, we've seen a lot of franchises take the open world approach. We've seen Zelda Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is going to be open world, Super Mario Odyssey, kind of open world, and of course new franchises such as the Horizon series or Elden Ring. Heck, even LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, despite it being a linear game, whenever you're not in a story mission, you can explore the world and it's pretty open, almost completely open to an extent. And it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog is finally joining the crowd. Frontiers is a completely open world game. Now I understand people have high expectations for Sonic's first open world game, but given Sonic's overall track record, especially during the 2010s, despite the fact that I just said the past 5 or so years have been pretty good for him, he still had terrible games. And I'm hoping that Sonic Frontiers doesn't join that list. I know people want the game to have probably a grand story with a lot of great characters and all that, but personally, as long as it's fun to play and it functions right, I think I'm going to enjoy the game. Like I mentioned in a previous video, it's an open world game where you're playing as a speedster. That sounds awesome to me. And again, as I referenced in that video, there was an open world Flash game in the works that was cancelled. That would have been something I really enjoyed, so Sonic taking up that mantle, why not? And granted, the gameplay could be better, but in terms of just being a speedster in an open world, this game looks pretty decent. However, that is just the gameplay. Or at least the potential of the gameplay. Unfortunately, when we got the gameplay shown, both videos, be it both the world and combat, were exclusively shown by IGN. Personally, I hate IGN, and this is one of those clear examples as to why. I don't know who they got to play the game, but they made it look boring as hell. They weren't using Sonic at his full potential, running around blazing through the world at breakneck speeds. Instead, they were just kind of meandering around. I've seen Link run faster in Breath of the Wild without using a sprint. And when they showed off the combat, good lord, they could not be consistent with it. They just kept jumping into the combat and then standing still for a minute, hit the enemy once or twice and then drop back down without doing anything else, and then run around as the enemy starts to attack them back. No, that's not what I want to see. I want to see Sonic running circles around enemies, giving them no time to breathe, and just beating the crap out of them. And that's not even to mention how the game actually looks. Now, the graphics do look actually pretty good, but I don't like how cartoony Sonic is kind of merging in with these realistic looking landscapes, and the enemies he's fighting looked even more high-tech than before, naturally, and Sonic just looks really out of place. Not to mention, while I wouldn't consider a game-breaking problem or deal breaker, there's a ton of poppin' which will get annoying, and for people who actually play with Sonic the way he's meant to be played, that's probably going to cause some lag within the game as the game loads in the environment as people are racing around the world. And I really, really, really hope that's not the case, because I want this to be the best Sonic game since Generations, since Mania. I really hope Sonic Force, not, no, Forces had its chance. I really hope Sonic Frontiers is at least a good Sonic game, because despite what I say, Lord knows he needs it. But overall, with both Pokemon Scarlet Violet and Sonic Frontiers, I'm going to remain optimistic. I know Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will sell well. I'm pretty sure Scarlet's going to sell a bit more than Violet will, but you know, Nintendo's going to count them as the same thing. They're going to sell well. People are going to love them. And Sonic Frontiers, I'm going to remain hopefully optimistic. Probably foolishly, but I'm going to remain optimistic. My biggest worry with Sonic Frontiers is that I sit here and say it's probably going to be a good game, and then it turns out to be an absolutely trash game. Not that I would know that from experience or anything. But in all seriousness, I really, really hope these games are good.